13th floor. The 13th floor.
Welcome everybody to the 13th floor, where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views are amazing. I'm your moderator, B. Jones, and I'm joined this week by my main man, Mike D. What's going on, bro?
What's going on today?
Not too much. Mr. Logistics, you in the building? Maybe not.
Everything's good, man. Another beautiful day in Zamunda. Let's go.
Oh, man. DJ Barry B. Fresh, what's going on?
Man, another wonderful week. You see what color we got on, folks. We caught that W. We out here. Let's get it.
Yeah, 77-0 sounds good. It looked good. I didn't watch it.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, they worked them. I mean, Savannah State is like the new FAMU, so on the schedule.
It's nothing like I told somebody yesterday, it's like when the varsity team got to play the JV squad in order to, get themselves back on. Man, we do this. This is what time it is. We can go out here and stomp people to kind of, get their guts up. That's kind of what yesterday was. And for them to do it with a shutout, it was just there really was nothing else that we could ask for. And it was good to see that all our QBs got a little bump. I think that it actually allowed us to understand a little bit more into the minor Rick and understand why he doesn't play them as much as we wanted him to as fans. But at the same time, it was good to see everybody out there. They did what needed to be done. And, we got to see that new turnover bling too. What?
I ain't watched the game. Was busy at a networking event pretty much the entirety of yesterday. But it was Savannah State, so I'll catch the highlights after we finish here.
The main point was victory. The best point was 0 points by them to show that the defense did what they needed to do. And I mean, ultimately, like I said, the new turnover chain, they went all out with the bling. It's iced out to the fullest. I don't think you could probably put another diamond on that thing. And to see Sebastian out there just swinging in the wind, it was beautiful. Brought about 3 tears to my eyes for them 3 turnovers we got.
That's how the little piece that holds onto the chain, whatever they call it, is blinged out, man. I was like, good Lord.
Ice.
Yeah, that Joker.
Man made it. It's so icy.
Easy, Mr. Watt.
Yeah, that Joker, man. I'm sure those are all diamonds. They got orange diamonds, green diamonds, white diamonds, whatever. They got a couple red ones.
Everything.
It's sick.
Wow. And I guarantee, I'm sure if you look it up, it's easy to find whatever jeweler created it and gave it to them, because I 100% they're excited to be a part of, Kane Nation.
I would expect it to be the same guy that did the first one. He just revamped it, made it.
There's no revamp. This is totally different, man. There's no you at all.
It's just Ibis.
I gotta look at it.
It's literally like the old, and it's
old Ibis.
The old Ibis, like the original symbol. It's just the Ibis, and he's just icy everywhere. He's frozen.
Yeah, I think they anticipated everybody else copying us, and they're like, okay, how do we take it to yet another level? So,
well, it's not perfect though. It's also new revenue, right? You know what I mean? Because don't get it twisted. All of them use that Dub Nation and everybody else is
Dime Life.
Yeah, Dime Life. Trust, you getting a piece of that, and it's okay. If I keep on selling this same one, they already got it this year. I can maybe change a little bit, but they already got it. And I'm just thinking people are going to buy it. Now that I created a whole new version, guess what? It's people looking at you like, oh, you got last year's joint. You ain't got the new one.
Exactly.
So you're going to see real soon them Ibises come out. Everybody's going to be trying to buy one.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't get one, because I know people that were ordering it in the off season.
The Ibis one or the old one?
The old one.
You want to know what?
They were all excited to go wear their.
First off, y'all want to go ahead and finalize it. We just got this one talking.
If you didn't know the voice already, that was our man Coach K out there. How are you, sir?
Oh yeah, hey man, I'm good. I'm just here. I'm excited. I didn't get to see the game. I was on a plane coming back from Jersey because I went up there to go hang out with Faison and go to the Eagles home opener.
Got that dub. That was a good game.
We got a dub the hard way though.
You staying for the whole game?
Yeah, we stayed for the whole game. I tell you what, man, that first half was so long for us. We were just like, oh my gosh. I mean, we already started late because of lightning and thunder.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it finally started, it was just like, man, I guess they just don't want to throw the ball today.
I don't know what that was, man. I was definitely expecting to see them air it out a lot more. But then with Alshon Jeffrey not being on the field and Nelson Aguilar being, basically it.
Yeah. So, it was interesting, but the defense held up whole game, and we got that win towards the end. It was very a little bit of, deja vu and whatnot with them calling a penalty at the end of the game. They gave them another shot right there on the goal line. And,
man, Julio Jones just can't score no touchdowns, man. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, that dude is just barred from the end zone.
Well, listen, by the time they get there, he's tired because of all the work he put in to get him down there.
Come on, Tevin Coleman, Devontae Freeman. You got to get in there.
I mean, he was really their only offense. Like, and that's what made it terrible. It was just like, come on, man, we know what they're going to do. We know where they're going. Mm-hmm. But they never doubled him. They left the one guy on him the whole game.
It's like bend don't break. Bend don't break.
But yeah, man, and got to hang out with Asher was up and the wife was up, and we got to hang out with EJ and Art and Namdi and Arinze. And let me tell y'all something. We talk about how big Namdi is. Arinze.
He's the same size as Asher?
Yep.
He's a little smaller than Asher. But when I tell you this little boy is strong, oh my gosh. Like, he can't walk quite yet, but
he will be.
So imagine we went to this, you know how Art always talks about the little gym?
Yeah.
So we went to the little gym yesterday morning, and his class was right before Namdi's and Asher's, but he stayed during Namdi's and Asher's. And imagine Namdi and a little boy, a little bit smaller than him, were in this little rectangle shape, the little mats that they have, and you can put them in shapes. They're in that. Arinze, who's not even 1 year old yet, comes and is pushing the both of them. He's standing up, supporting on them, but pushing them. I was just like, oh my gosh, like, that is crazy. Wow. Yeah, he's gonna be a monster.
He's gonna be on the D line.
He's definitely the enforcer of the crew. We went to breakfast yesterday morning, and we're eating, and Namdi was like pushing him away. So Arinze's like going back with him pushing, and then as soon as Namdi stopped, he just lunged forward and slapped. Bam! It was crazy, man. Like, just the force that he did it with, I was like, oh my gosh.
That little bro not playing no games
at all. He didn't cry or anything when Namdi was pushing them. He just like, yeah, that's what you got. That's what you got. Okay, I got you. Go ahead, move your hand.
Yeah, the build up that like Ryu.
Yep. I was like, wow.
Terrible. Easy, man. Moving right along. I want to send a special shout out, man. Prayers, condolences, and strength to the family of Zyrion Simpson, our fallen brother. He was in a tragic motorcycle accident about 2 weeks ago and fought hard, but got called home a few days ago. Spring 88, excuse me. Trey Dog, man, we miss you. We love you. Praying for strength to the family. I knew Z. Like I told y'all in the group, man, he was one of the first OD bros that I met and actually bought me my line shirt, like my first line shirt. And it was the first day we met. So I'm this young 18-year-old, 19-year-old guy he knows nothing about, but he just saw enough in me at that point in time to just, go in his pockets and get me something that I couldn't have afforded myself because those shirts are expensive, man. And him and Leighton spent, some time with me. And it was just regular conversation. He was just an open dude. From what I could tell, and I've only seen him a couple times from there. Mike, you had a longer history with him, and I know Carol, you had run-ins with him too. But just want to send that out to the family, man. I don't know, Mike, you want to speak on it a little bit?
Yeah, it's been like hit or miss. Like sometimes you think about just different things. He was quiet. So I had just thought moving into the house, he had made me these speakers. He told me like to buy the speakers. He would put it together. These speakers ended up turning almost like a $750 set of 8-foot by 3-foot wide boxes that I couldn't even fit into the apartment that I was living in. It was hilarious. I mean, it was like, I got it. Like, man, could have spent $100 and got me some speakers. It's like 3 weeks later. What the size of these? But it was cool. It was cool. He was a good bruh. Like he was definitely a good balance to the OD bros at that time with Forrest and Greg and Otis and kind of all of that getting crazy. You guys see on the other side, like, hey, let's go fishing. So good, bro.
Yeah, man, that dude was always smiling, man. Well, he was smiling when I saw him. I
He
never
was always smiling.
He was always
Yep.
smiling.
Always smiling, and you know, if you having a bad day, Z, you know, would see you, and when he got excited, his voice would go high. So he would be talking to you, and his smile was so like, you know.
Yeah.
So man, you know, it just yeah, man, he's gonna be missed, man. I haven't spoke to Z in years. I remember when he was working on computers, and he had my computer for the longest.
And a garage full of them too.
Right. But when my computer came back, man, it worked wonderfully, man. And he was just that guy, man. If he could help you, he would. So
Absolutely, man. I also want to send another shout out to one of the fans, one of the listeners. I don't know if you guys caught the comment on not the last episode, but 84 when we PBI versus PWI. Christina Stewart said she loved the intro, fellas, when we was talking about the urination and my inability to be in the room with my lady. She said she loved the intro. She hadn't laughed that hard since like a past morning show. I think she compared us to like Russ Parr or something like that. But it was good. Good feeling. Glad that she could enjoy that conversation.
Yeah, that was funny.
And it actually was crazy because yesterday I got some live feedback. I actually played the podcast for a group of friends after the networking event, and it was funny because I've never been in the room while people are listening, so it's like it was weird for me to listen to myself when we first got started, right? But now in the room with them and listening, and like we paused the podcast probably like every 10 or 15 minutes. Because there was some poignant point or something either Fresh said or Curl said that sparked an alter conversation, and I'm just sitting in the room like, wow, look at this, man. This is our work, man.
The growth, yeah.
We're doing this, man.
That's
it felt
funny, man.
It felt really, really good, man. I wanted to share that with y'all, man.
I think it was that last weekend that you had Maddie's party, BJ?
Yeah.
So last weekend, somebody that went to school during my early time and Mike D's time, actually, Chanel Deal, shout out to Chanel. She was at BJ's house, and they hadn't connected on that tip as of yet, as in, you know, alumni and who you know.
I didn't know. I didn't even know she was alumni. She saw my tags and saw some stuff in the house. That's how it came up initially. Yeah,
and then she started talking about the podcast.
Wow.
So it's crazy. I was just like, we just don't even understand how many people actually listen. And man, look, we're thankful for all of you, but we want to know that you're listening. So
that's what I be trying to tell people, man. It's like, listen, it's crazy because the stats are the stats, and I look at them, you know, week to week, and I see some growth, some ups and downs, and everything. But you know, it's always surprising when you get in the room and then you know people who know you from our Facebook, you know, advertisements or whatever, and it's like they won't leave a comment on the page though. Like I'm like, it's great. I love getting the text messages and I love to see the conversation that starts. But leave it on the podcast, man. Let the room know.
A great quote. I don't know who originally said it, but give people their flowers while they're still here, right? Absolutely. It's everybody wants to wait until it's done or gone. And I guarantee if we said this was our last one, all of a sudden we're getting all types of texts and Facebook posts of, hey, what do you got me all to stop? And this, I've been listening the whole time. And let us know now. We appreciate it. We love it. We, you know, it helps keep us motivated to continue doing what we are doing when we hear that we are actually reaching the people that we hope to reach. While we enjoy doing this for ourselves, our hope is that we are touching more people and helping more people throughout this journey called life.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So in that,
can I get it?
Oh, go ahead. You got it.
Oh no, I was giving just amen, brother.
Oh, see,
He can root for us back.
Amen.
fade to the background. So in
Nah. Deacon Jones messed him up. He's like, yes, sir. So, wait, his little like two-liner. Couldn't follow.
Say that's how the going to church like, hey, that was my amen, brother.
terrible.
Stop being selfish for God.
But in all of that, I guess something that happened earlier, which I thought was pretty interesting. So the new boyfriend was in the room. So one of her sisters has a new boyfriend or whatever. They've been talking for a while, and we've hung out with him on a few occasions. So at the networking event, after while everything is being set up, he asked me, "So, how long you and Chris been talking?" And he's the new guy, so I understand how fresh it might be for him. But when he said that to me, it almost like it stung me, because like I'm a grown man, and this thing been going on for upwards of 10 years. So what do you mean talking or whatever? So I laid it out for him, the history and everything. But then I started to think, it's like, wow, we aren't officially married. So when you say that, the boyfriend, girlfriend, lady, I'll probably use that term well after we get married, just because it's ingrained in my vernacular at this point. But that it almost puts a level of pressure on me from, the outside world, because of how they view things. And even though I look at our relationship under the same confines, because we make the same decisions, we do the same things. And I understand through the great counsel that I get from you guys, things sort of change once you get on the other side, once you actually have that official title. But it still puts it made me think about, why haven't we necessarily made this thing, super official? And I understand the reasons why, but how that looks to the outside world, and how that same type of pressure might push people into situations where they might not have the same history, that 10 years or 5 years or whatever. And they can like go into it and say, yeah, I know this person, I'm gonna get married. They might just be getting that, 3 months, 6 months in, a year in, and they making this marriage decision, and then you see it dissolve over the next couple of years or whatnot. So I kind of wanted to see what you guys thought about it, get your take on it, because that pressure to propose, it almost got me in that moment.
It's hard, right? I mean, just coming out of an 11-year relationship, it's the pressures of outside people's thoughts and input, along with the understanding of what you have at home, can create a weird, and combustible dynamic.
Exactly.
And there's no finite way to know that that person that you met, whether it's a good choice within 1 month to get married. There are people who, pretty much get married at first sight and last for a long time. There are people who, were in, just talking for 10, 15 years, then get married and then get a divorce as soon as they get married. There's no finite way to understand or know that dynamic, along with knowing how your growth is going to compare with each other and what that's going to bring. So there's no yes or no on it. It's it's a complex gumbo that you have to season and salt yourself every time. It's going to be something different, because all of our relationships on here have been the same but different. You know what I mean? And that's the crazy dynamic of life growth.
Faison, please put it on a shirt. It's a complex gumbo.
And I'm thinking it on the back, like, what's your seasoning? like it was, yeah. That's a perfect explanation, because it's different, but it's the same. So I would say, if you're responding to pressure, no. That would be my first, because you said it's sort of, take it out. Like, it does. So if it's pressure and you are not comfortable with what that change will be, don't keep it like it is. It works for you. Don't let the outside make anything, any decisions you want to make uncomfortable, because then that won't be good, because you'll constantly go back and think about what if and what it could have been and so forth and so on. It's got to be true to do it. So that's my advice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say this, one, I know we just said leave comments and stuff. we believe that majority of our audience is female. So please don't jump on Brett now and be like, well, what you waiting for? And all that stuff. Because I totally see that.
It
And
doesn't
then
work.
the other thing is, now that Fresh has announced that he's out of an 11-year relationship, please don't start blowing up the inbox like, oh, Fresh, you available? Hey, hi, Fresh, you're my favorite
I don't
podcast.
want Gumbo.
Newblackguys.com is the new tagline.
Gumbo season. Exactly. Don't get yourself in this chef's pot too early. You dig?
Right. You already heard it's a complex gumbo. But what I would say is, man, that pressure it's real and it's on both sides. It's not just the male, it's the female as well. And I think what happens is the people that apply that pressure, they don't apply that pressure and give you the keys to success, give you the, start giving you the advice of what it's like to actually be married. All they talk about is the actual action of getting married and the excitement and all that stuff. They don't tell you that, even during that, you're going to get strained and, one person's going to want one thing, the other one's going to want another thing. And then depending on who the couple is or who's involved, the expense about it. And at the end of the day, it's just like, it's sad because you should start that support to keep the marriage and the union ahead of time. Right. And not just leave it to a premarital counselor or to a pastor or a priest or whoever. But we get so caught up in just the excitement of it. And, I hate it. It makes my skin crawl when the first time that somebody heard a female got engaged, oh, let me see the ring. No, don't let me see the ring. Let me see your plan on how you're going to make your marriage strong.
It's funny. I was talking to some of my good friends this weekend. Actually, no, it was last weekend after the game. The other. But the wife, she's of Haitian descent. My friend is straight African American. We were having a conversation because when they first got together, she used to always make him dinner every night, like rub his feet, all of this, like old school wife, making sure everything's straight for the husband when he comes home. That she said that's how she was taught to raise to treat her man. Him on the other side, straight African American, he didn't see that growing up. And while it isn't that he doesn't appreciate it, it just got overwhelming that he was like, you don't have to do this every night, pretty much is what it got to. That she internalized it as, you don't like it and I'm never going to do it again. And now this has, grown into something that is so much more than the original. He's not telling you stop it. He's not telling you he doesn't like it. He's not telling you he doesn't appreciate it, but he is overwhelmed with the impact of, hey, this isn't what I saw and what I thought a man was supposed to. And I don't need a plate of a bunch of rice and just meat. Like,
boy, I was just about to say that's what he's overwhelmed with.
That's
rice and sauce pois and all that stuff. That's what he's overwhelmed with.
Literally, we had a conversation. There are so many other sides besides rice, and she got mad at him like, boy, rice ain't
is not a side. That's the problem. Rice is not a side.
That's crazy. Now it all makes sense. All the Haitian homes that I've eaten in, like,
exactly,
it all makes sense.
But let me tell you guys. But let me tell you guys though, right? It is not just a Haitian home. Like, it is a island home. It's an African home. As I said, just coming from Faison's, they have Auntie Grace. Shout out to Auntie Grace. I know you'll never hear this podcast unless Art plays it for you, but she's from Nigeria, and we saw Wendy was getting food for Asher, and she put a little bit of rice on the plate, and Auntie Grace said, "Oh, that's not enough rice."
What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? That's not enough rice for him. He needs more rice. And then
that's why Namdi in the ring.
Yeah, Namdi was eating, and Namdi Art gave him like his choice of like 3 different things, and I saw her looking out the corner of her eye like, why did you give him all that stuff? He should just have the rice. And
Why are you
After
not?
he was done eating the other things, she came back. Okay, Namdi, eat your rice, right? Like that's all she kept pushing. She made sure he ate every grain of that rice. It was crazy. But anyway, man, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to cut you off, man. But you were talking about what traditionally she used to do, and then where they're at now.
And there is absolutely nothing wrong with having plentiful rice on your plate by any means. But my point was not allowing that compromise in a relationship, because that's ultimately what it got down to in the conversation when I was talking to her. Well, I was like, she was talking about her distaste for people who say relationships are 50-50, marriage is 50-50, because she's like, oh, you need to give 100% of yourself to it, so you shouldn't be giving 50% of yourself. And so then I got into the don't be slick about the words, because the meaning is more on the compromise of the situation and not trying to act like you're really supposed to be giving 50%. And so then it progressed into her not wanting to well, pretty much this is how I was raised, so he should be able to accept it. But then there's all these ways that he was raised that you don't want to accept. So what really is going on? Ultimately, it led to nothing. But I wanted to bring to the people the fact that compromise should be in your relationship, and that is a huge point of understanding in making that union that Brett was talking about.
Absolutely is.
Where's your lines? Like, are your lines similar in the compromise, or is there still a gap? And how big is that gap? And then on what issues does that compromise happen? And sometimes you don't know that until later on. So you may not find a situation out till 12, 13 years in.
That's why dating is so scary to me at this point, because to have to go through all of that all over with somebody else again, like
It's still a time frame.
But here's the thing. I liken compromise in a relationship to people trying to figure out what the car is worth. And I think the problem is that people start their relationship compromise at the wrong point. They always have it at the beginning of the relationship.
And that's that
right?
fine line that I was about to get into. Go ahead.
Yeah. And I think the thing that they don't look at is so the people with the cars, they think that their car was worth what they bought it for when they bought it, not realizing that, no, somebody made money. There was money there to keep the lights on, to pay the person to sell you the car, et cetera, et cetera. So most time you don't even know what your car was worth when you originally bought it. You just know what what they could sell it for.
Right.
And then I think in a relationship, what people always remember is what you started out doing, right? But not realizing that as time goes, you're going to change. Both people change as time goes. So you have to reset your compromise point, because I may have liked to eat pork rinds, let's say, right? But then as time goes, I realized that maybe that's not healthy for me. I'm more educated. I have more experiences now. So now I don't want pork rinds.
Absolutely.
And then you come tell me, well, I got these pork rinds for you. Why don't you eat them? You just let them stay there and they spoil. Well, that's not who I am anymore. Are you the same person? As you hear Asher knocking on the door, are you the same person that you were when you first started the relationship? And I don't think people ever look at that.
Yeah.
I think it goes back to.
Go ahead, BJ.
I think the fundamental concept of what compromise is, and like you said, a lot of people I talk to now, I'll talk about me in a second, but when I hear people out here dating, the things they compromise on now and then want to change in a relationship later on. So a lot of the younger females that I hear talking about, they're out dating, they can't find anybody, whatever, and they end up dating somebody for an extended period of time and catch a feeling for somebody after 6 months, a year, however long the time has been. But the things you compromise on in the beginning and never communicated. For instance, if you start dating a guy and you don't like the fact that, like, one of the biggest things I heard from him is like they play video games in all their spare time. I'm like, what? Wasn't he doing that when you guys first met? Yeah, but I thought after we got together that he would change and spend more time with me instead of doing that. But that was one small example. But that was what he was doing when you met him, and you did not make that a statement. Did not say up front that this was a concern for you, or if this is going to be what it's going to be, then we're not going to be. I mean, things like that. It's a small thing example I'm giving, but I'm hearing a lot of females saying this, and a lot of guys, well, she was digging me. I don't really know what's going on, but after a while, it was just they end up in situationships.
Expectations always tend to change over time.
Exactly.
As well. And then you know, like she started out with a certain level of expectation that probably wasn't properly communicated.
But she did not never communicated that
Right.
to him and was fooling herself that she was going to change him. Right.
Mhm.
And then guys do the same thing. I'm not putting it on females. Guys do the same thing too.
Right.
Well, she'll change as time go on, or I can get her to do this, or we'll do that. I mean,
or because we get a lot more caught up in the physical, we think they're going to maintain the way that we met them.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. We don't realize there's going to be a change.
Subliminal hopes, right? Subliminal standards and all of these things, because the video games is one of the best examples you can break out, DJ, because they will not voice that concern until it's really deep in the relationship. And then when they voice it, there's an expectation of instant, like, I went from playing video games in all my spare time, and now I'm just going to instantly stop playing video games 100%. And no, that's not going to happen. So now you've got this rub of, but I thought it was okay, and oh, well, now it's not okay. That creates all of these. If you would have had that conversation earlier, it's not that you don't like him playing video games, but you wish he spent some more time with you. So how you vocalize it is how it can, you know, over time shift to what you need. But you can't expect that somebody was one way when you first met them, and now I'm just going to magically change because all of a sudden you made a statement.
Correct.
I don't think it's and I think it stems from that expectation thing. And I think for us as men, you know, women in the way that they mature, they expect us to mature along those same lines. But I tell females who encounter these types of issues in the dating game or whatever, that you can help dictate or move along that process. So if this is an actual thing, the video games thing, there's a way to go about it to see if that works for you or not, especially if this individual is not the most productive because of the video game all day. But to just go in with this unreasonable expectation that it's just going to stop overnight, you know, it's just a recipe for disaster. You may as well just walk away right now. But if there's a weaning process or something along those lines, I mean, that definitely helps more, especially if this is something you knew you was getting yourself into beforehand.
And let's not lie. It's an addiction, right? Like,
it absolutely is. We were just talking about it with our kids. Like, it's an addiction.
So there's no difference that you can't expect somebody to quit cold turkey. And listen, the addiction doesn't have to be video games. Some females are addicted to shopping. You know, there are different addictions that you can have, and regardless of what it is, to assume that there can be a cold turkey stop, you have to, even with hard drugs, heroin, you still have to make a plan in order to go ahead and execute yourself getting off of it. If you try to just go cold turkey, unless you're in jail and are not able to get nothing, there's going to be, even then, severe penalties. We all just watched the Bobby Brown story. We saw what he had to deal with when he got
still got to find that. Man.
There's no... Yep. And so that compromise is understanding.
What you just said is keto, but that plan to do it, and it's not just him quit, and we're gonna stick that example. It's not just him quitting. It's what are you two gonna do together to fill in the time to show, like a Brett said, a plan that, okay, so I'm being really rigid here, but okay, so we're gonna spend an hour watching a TV show like together right here and there before it gets
the worst thing. That's probably one of the worst things you could do. I got a really good.
Okay, well, I'm trying to think outside the box here, but
TV show is like, people try to do that, but I know me, like, especially if I'm working, like, I'm gonna get into bed and fall asleep. But to get a little more intimate.
But the thing was, she's they're two together with the plan. I understand what you're saying, because I'm the same way. I like, look, you want to watch a movie? Let's watch a movie tonight. Now
you see, so yeah, so it's like I don't know. That's the thought process is there. I think that's spending time is the ultimate goal, right?
Right.
But here's something actionable, and me and my lady did it for a while, and then she got too busy with dental school to continue it on. But we got a shoebox, right? And we would just put random pieces of paper, but we write a phrase or a topic or anything on the piece of paper and put it in a box. And that we would spend like a certain amount of time, either each night or a week, in the box. We go and pick out a piece of paper and we just talk. So you spending that time together, and typically that's something that most women want to do anyway. But it allows you all to get to know each other in a more intimate fashion than just kind of sitting there and being slaves or zombies to a box. You know what I'm saying, on TV watching, The Walking Dead or something.
Yeah, I'm definitely an encourager of get out and get out.
I like that.
Like that too.
Like, you dropped the real gem.
Right.
Real gem.
Counselor Brett.
Our 5 male listeners, he just put some juice on you right there now, fella. Put some juice on you.
Yeah, that was fire. Go ahead. What are we gonna say, Brett?
I was saying that's what happens when you've been unofficial for that long. You figure out ways to be.
You got to come up with creative ways.
But also, I want to, because I mean, we can't. I want to say, Brett, like, so when you say the new guy asked a question, whatever, been in the same position a few years ago, for a while then. But the thing about it was I didn't categorize it as pressure, but just kind of reminders of I need to figure out what's going to happen and where I want to go. Because I mean, and I'm not trying to put anybody's relationship in the same spot like I did mine, but something has to happen sooner or later. And it's not going to go for another 10 years.
No.
So something's going to happen. And if it's going to be a negative one, I need to think about all the pieces that are moving in this wheel. If I don't see this going past, going to the next level and actually making that commitment. So it really got to the point where, okay, so what are we really going to do? Do I see even the things we're going through now? Do I see us overcoming these things and being together? And if that's not the case, we need to start talking about what are we going to do and how are we going to make this happen?
Absolutely.
Because at that point in time, for me, it was kids involved.
Absolutely. And like there's kids involved now. So
at the realization that, this time had been here, but this time is not going to double. Hell, I don't know if another year, 2 years are even going to go by before it gets to a breaking point.
Mm-hmm.
And that breaking point could come from either side. So it's not just a one side of putting it on her or putting it on you. Mm-hmm. But that realization, okay, something has to happen and something has to change, and steps toward whatever that is has to start occurring. The longer you put it off, the worse it's going to be.
And that's what we kind of agreed.
That's the one piece I think I could add to it, because I went through that a couple years ago.
Absolutely. I mean, it definitely sparked a conversation, but everything you just said is exactly what we agreed to. So
right, and that's the thing. You guys have a plan.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and you built a timeline on, okay, this, and this, and then we'll make this step, right? Which, man, you guys are putting a plan together, and how many people actually put a plan together past let's plan the wedding, right? I mean, that night that is over, a lot of people walk out and they're like, oh man, what are we gonna do with the rest of our life? And then you look over and you're just like, oh man, I didn't realize it. It's you for real, right? And that's when things change. So look, man, you follow your plan, man.
Yeah, don't let titles interrupt that at all.
Follow your plan, yeah, and definitely, I'm disappointed in you because the new guy hasn't even earned the right to ask questions. Like,
right.
It was so funny, man. Like I told y'all in the beginning, like just to use that word talking to me, it's like you got to kind of understand, and not to downplay him or anyway, like, but the ignorance that comes with being a new guy. So it's like, initially I was ready to like attack. I was like, what do you mean talking to? Like, don't talk like that. We can't use those words. But
well, you should have hazed them.
Right, 2 days. I've known him for 2 days, man. Where you been?
Nah, that's cool.
But again, it's perception, because he's looking at you guys like, man, they got a beautiful thing. Like,
what it
wow,
is.
You know what I mean? Like,
there's
something in him that he's just like, man, if I had that, I would have already made that move.
It could be.
So, and I wasn't talking about, if he had Chris, that's not what I was saying. I know you listen, but he's looking at
No.
He's looking at your situation like,
yeah.
Man, if my girl was about to be a dentist, wow, I get paid. I go buy all the video games I want to play.
No, I can't wait, man. I can quit, be at the crib all day.
Don't fool yourself.
Oh man, so we talked about the game a little bit in the beginning, But I heard that we got some turnover items coming out now, some counterfeits and everything,
You
man.
know, they say the best form of flattery is imitation, and it mustered itself up a little bit at the end of last year.
Yeah, we had
And,
Oregon and their little chain
Yep.
link
Yeah,
thing.
that was funny.
We all knew it would happen, but to see the display that FS Boo has decided to create, to bring out a red backpack.
This is a real thing.
Yes.
This isn't even like me, like clowning, like we being serious for a moment. A red backpack. It said they are securing the bag, but they colors is crimson. They couldn't even get a color, nothing the same color as they school.
At least,
Yet they bringing out a bag because they said they're securing the bag.
listen. At least go pay the Wells Fargo man for a money bag, and if you got to dye it red, then do that, right? Crimson, whatever you want to call it. But
That's just
They need to take their Dora the Explorer self and go look to find a
We've been on this for 1 minute. That's all the time attention they get. Let's go.
no, I will say this though. I feel bad for their coach. He gonna get fired.
Willie Tiger?
Yeah, he's fired.
He ain't gonna last more than 2 seasons at the most.
Oh, he's not making it past this summer. He's fired.
did they lose? Did they lose?
Won. No, they
They
won.
won in the last 5 minutes of the game. They were behind until the last 5 minutes of the total game. 5-6
And
minutes.
you got totally embarrassed on
By
that.
Sanford. I had to go look up who the hell Sanford was.
Right.
Oh, you said with an M?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
In Alabama, school in Alabama. Like,
Yeah. They got
the Stanford guys. No, I didn't say Stanford. I said Stanford.
and Jimbo played good yesterday against Clemson.
yeah,
That's
Jimbo had texted, we're not going. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to my story about the turnover chain, though, right? So last week after our L, I was and a matter of fact, right before the game last weekend, I went ahead. I was like, you know what? I ain't got my chain. I'm gonna go ahead and place this order. Boom, press send, hit that PayPal up. Turnover chain is on en route. So Friday, I'm leaving my house.
It's the new one, right?
And yeah, I'm up in Winter Garden now. We'll get to that in a second. So I'm up in Winter Garden now, right? I had to come down for the game yesterday. Friday, I'm hoping that the mail comes. Boom.
Hold on, pause, fresh. Oh man, I was just about to give a shout out to Lil Mike. Lil Mike was on. Now he doesn't have headphones anymore, so he can't hear us. But make him listen to the replay, Mike.
There it is. One time for Mike. So Friday comes, of course, the mail comes. I have nothing. I promise you, on my way to the game yesterday, my sister-in-law sends me a text. Hey, is this the package you were looking for? And literally on the way to the game, my turnover chain has arrived at the house. So, you know, I'm a little salty because I don't have it to wear to the game, of course, because I was fly rocking my I got my chain shorts on. I was ready to be
Country fresh, baby.
I was ready to be in it. But I don't have a turnover chain, so you know I'm a little downbeat. But
that's awesome.
then in the game, this turnover chain happens, and they pull out that new joint. My heart dropped down like about 5 more notches because now I'm like, not only is the joint late, I was super late because it ain't even not even watching this decent fashion.
So they actually did you a favor.
It's the gift and the curse. Now I just gotta like put it on the wall or something. Like, just like you know, a memory. I remember when it first started.
That's how I feel about my Galaxy Watch, man.
I'd return that joker.
Right.
I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna send it back. I'll keep the chain, but can you send me a new emblem?
When the new one comes, go on, just make my order for this joint.
Right.
That's funny.
Oh, man. We sticking with you, Fresh, man. We need the Fresh and Biz for this week, man. What you got for the people?
Compromise versus settle, right? in business, you need to learn to compromise. But as an entrepreneur, you're going to have times when you have that feeling in your heart of, man, I know I'm right. I shouldn't compromise. I shouldn't do this. And that's when you need to understand the difference of compromising versus settling. When you compromise, there might be a feeling of, I'm giving something away, but sometimes you have to give in order to get. Versus settling is just, giving up more than you should and just settling on what's happening. So you have to be able to cross that finite line of understanding the difference between compromising in order to execute and propel yourself into success versus settling and in a sense laying down and not allowing yourself to continue the good fight. So that's what we got this week. Fresh in the biz, numero uno, entrepreneur ninja. Holla.
There it is. Before we get up out of here, I want to remind you all you can get this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud. Catch the videos on Vimeo and YouTube. Leave us comments. Please leave us comments. We love your comments. And as you see, we'll shout you out on the 13th floor. If you want to get connected with us, follow us on all social media. It's at 13th floor, please, on all social media. Coach K, take us home.
Oh, man, in honor of just our fallen brother. He was a brother to us all. He was a fellow Kane. I'm going to keep it simply Simpson as we go out on this one. Man, be that happy moment in somebody's daily life. When I tell you this dude always walked around smiling, he smiled so hard you couldn't even see his eyes. His eyes were closed when he smiled. and he would always tilt his head up a little bit when he did it. But, man, be that shining moment in somebody's day. You never know how you'll impact them and just change the course of their day. Be that positive energy. Don't always walk around thinking that, this is it. This is life. You messed around, felt the pressure to get married, and now you grumpy. Find a way to be that positive light. Be that smile. Love you, Z.
Love you, Z.
Love you, Z.
All right.
Ruru. We out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for listening here with us on the 13th floor, where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views are amazing.
Holla.
85.
The 13th floor.
Here's Ocho Cinco, man.
The 13th floor.